Mr. Calloway smirked, his eyes glinting with amusement as he stared at Ethan Hayes, the quietest student in the class. The air was thick with anticipation, and the classroom erupted in laughter as Ethan stood frozen in front of the blackboard. "This is going to be fun, Mr." Calloway taunted, folding his arms. "Where are we wasting our time?" Ethan swallowed hard, his gaze locked on a monstrous equation scrawled across the board. The numbers and symbols twisted into an impossible labyrinth, intentionally designed to humiliate him. A few students whispered, chuckling behind their hands. "He's going to crash so bad. This is painful to watch." Mr. Calloway let out a chuckle. "Come on, Hayes. Show us what you've got." Ethan took a deep breath, his grip tightening around the chalk. The teacher thought this was a joke. He had no idea he had just challenged a genius. The laughter swirled around him, but Ethan ignored it. His mind wasn't on the ridicule. It was on the problem in front of him. Mr. Calloway leaned against his desk, watching with a smirk. "Well, Hayes, I'm waiting. Were you trying to summon a math genie to solve it for you?" More laughter. Ethan remained silent, his fingers tapping a slow rhythm against the chalk. He wasn't thinking about the teacher. He wasn't thinking about the class. He was breaking down the problem in his head, step by step. Mr. Calloway sighed dramatically. "All right, Hayes, I think we've seen enough. Why don't you take your seat before you embarrass yourself any further?" Ethan exhaled. "No." Silence. The entire class turned to look at him. Mr. Calloway raised an eyebrow. "No." For the first time, Ethan pressed the chalk to the board. The teacher rolled his eyes. "Oh, this should be good." Ethan's hand moved. The first number appeared, then another, then symbols, calculations, each stroke slow and precise. The class watched, expecting nonsense. Mr. Calloway chuckled. "Interesting approach, Hayes. But let me save you some time. It's wrong." Ethan kept writing. A student in the back frowned. "Wait, is that?" Ethan wrote faster. His silent analysis transformed into full-speed calculation. The logic unfolded. The class, which had been mocking him just moments ago, leaned forward in their seats. Mr. Calloway's smirk wavered. Ethan's grip tightened around the chalk, his mind moving like a supercomputer, breaking down the equation into simpler steps. Step after step, line after line, the classroom shifted from amusement to confusion. Mr. Calloway's smirk disappeared entirely. Something was wrong, very wrong, because Ethan Hayes was winning. The laughter was gone, the whispers faded. The classroom, once a stage for Ethan's humiliation, became a silent witness to something unreal. A student gulped. "No way." Another leaned back in their chair. "This is insane." Ethan's hands moved faster, effortlessly reducing the impossible equation to solvable form. He worked through calculations most of his classmates couldn't even begin to understand. Mr. Calloway cleared his throat, his authority slipping. "That equation is advanced collegiate-level mathematics. This is not a game." Ethan did not stop. Step after step, number after number, each line was flawless. Mr. Calloway stepped closer, scanning for an error. Any error. There was none. The students' expressions shifted from confusion to awe, then something else, fear. Mr. Calloway swallowed, his throat dry. He'd spent weeks humiliating Ethan, but now the quiet boy was rewriting reality in front of him. A student gasped. "Holy crap, he's actually doing it." Another whispered, voice shaking. "How does he know this?" The chalk screeched as Ethan reached the final step. Mr. Calloway's hands clenched into fists. The boy who was supposed to be the laughingstock had just become the most dangerous person in the room. One final stroke, one last number. Ethan placed the chalk down. For the first time, he turned and looked directly at Mr. Calloway. Silence. The classroom was dead quiet. Every eye was glued to the board, staring at the flawlessly completed equation. Mr. Calloway's face had gone pale. His arms hung limply at his sides, his gaze flickering between the answer and Ethan. A student finally broke the silence. "Wait, That's correct. Another student leaned forward, eyes wide. No way, he actually solved it. The class erupted into hushed whispers. Some students fumbled for their notebooks, checking their own calculations. Others simply gawked at the board, unable to process what they were seeing. Mr. Calloway inhaled sharply, his fingers twitching at his sides. His mouth opened, then closed. Impossible. It had to be a mistake. He grabbed a calculator from his desk, his hands slightly unsteady, and began punching in the numbers. The room washed as he checked, rechecked, then checked again. The color drained further from his face. A student chuckled nervously. "Oh man, he's freaking out." Another whispered, "If Ethan got this right, that means—" The realization spread through the class like wildfire. Mr. Calloway, the arrogant, all-knowing math teacher, had just been completely outmatched by a student he thought was an easy target. Ethan finally spoke. "Is there a problem, sir?" His voice was steady, cool, unshaken. The class held their breath. Mr. Calloway's hands curled into fists. He wanted to deny it, to find a flaw, to call Ethan a cheat, but there was nothing. No mistakes, no miscalculations, just perfection. Ethan Hayes had just single-handedly shattered the illusion of Mr. Calloway's authority. The teacher swallowed hard, forcing himself to speak. "You how?" Ethan met his gaze, unbothered. "Math is easy when you actually understand it." The students erupted, cheers, gasps, laughter. The teacher who had humiliated so many students had just been taken down in his own arena. Mr. Calloway's fingers trembled as he placed the calculator back on the desk. For the first time in his career, he had no response. Ethan picked up his backpack and walked back to his seat, cool and composed. The class stared at him, their expressions a mix of admiration and shock. And Mr. Calloway, he could only stand there, humiliated in front of the entire room. A heavy silence filled the space. Then one snicker, another, and then, like a dam breaking, the entire class burst into hushed laughter and murmurs. One student muttered, "Dude, Ethan just made history in this classroom." Ethan sat back down, unfazed by the growing commotion. He didn't bask in the attention. He didn't smirk. He simply opened his notebook. But for the rest of the students, something monumental had shifted. For years, Mr. Calloway had ruled the classroom with arrogance. But today, he had been dethroned by the quietest kid in the room. And everyone knew things would never be the same again.